Biodiversity management in the region gets multi-million-dollar support from Germany.
Regional culture ministers endorse permanent brand logo for CARIFESTA.
And the Caribbean Development Bank predicts economic growth for the region. These and other stories are in the CARICOM News Highlights for Friday, 7 June 2019. I am Tusankin English Francis.
And I am Michelle Nurse of the CARICOM Secretariat's Communications Unit. Welcome.
Dr. Laura Bristol, Program Manager for Human Resource Development at the CARICOM Secretariat. We are approaching our annual CARICOM Heads of Government meeting in St. Lucia in July. Every year we host a CARICOM 10K road race right before our Heads meeting, and this year it's no different. It will be held on the 30th of June, and the event promises to be fun and exciting, with 10 and 5K races and a 1K walk for our very special CARICOM members. Tune in to this space to see the athletes from your country participate and make us all proud. We look forward to your support. Let's cheer them on as they race towards health, wellness, and regional integration.
The Council for Human and Social Development, COHSOD, has endorsed a permanent brand logo for the roving Mega Festival of Arts, CARIFESTA. At its 22nd meeting in Georgetown, Guyana, on the 6th and 7th of June, COHSOD approved a draft regional strategy for cultural industries for the period 2020 to 2025. Ministers of Culture assessed how preparations are advancing for CARIFESTA 14 in the Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago from the 16th to the 25th of August. Trinidad and Tobago's Minister of Culture, Dr. Nyan Gatsby-Dolly, delivered the feature address at the opening of the meeting on Thursday morning. There were also remarks by Guyana's Minister of Social Cohesion, Dr. George Norton, the CARICOM Secretary General, Ambassador Erwin LaRocque, and Assistant Secretary General, Dr. Douglas Slater.
CARICOM Secretary General Ambassador Erwin LaRocque, in his remarks at the opening, reiterated that culture played a significant role in the region's sustainable growth and development.
Culture has an important role to play in contributing to our region's sustainable development. It has been asserted that culture should be seen as the fourth pillar of sustainable development, as both an enabler and a driver of economic and social development and environmental sustainability, which constitute the three dimensions of sustainable development. Developing cultural and creative industries and growing the creative economy are the strategies increasingly being employed by governments in the region in the quest for inclusive economic development.
Also speaking at the opening, Dr. the Honorable Nyan Gatsby-Dolly, Minister of Community Development, Culture and the Arts in Trinidad and Tobago, said the theme chosen for the hosting of the meeting was very relevant, remarking that it spoke to how individuals, the community and the nations of the region understood and utilized culture for self-evaluation. According to her, a paradigm shift was needed to create a more self-sustaining cultural economic cycle.
In order to create this self-sustaining cultural economic cycle, the holy grail of all cultural industry discussions, a paradigm shift is required. We must place ourselves in the driver's seat, charting together the course for cultural development based on already identified and, most importantly, potential cultural assets. We must drive this process forward instead of passively accepting windfall successes which happen to come our way.
Honorable Dr. George Norton, Minister of Social Cohesion Guyana, was happy to welcome the ministers and officials to his country for the meeting. He also posited the value of culture, saying it was time for it to be mainstreamed in the regional agenda.
This is a collective mission, and we must work together to achieve tangible and impactful outcomes. Hence, my excitement to witness the establishment of the Caribbean Creative Industries Management Unit and the establishment of a national and regional registry of artists and cultural workers. The government of Guyana commits itself to provide support as we work towards achieving every target to better our culture and creative industries.
Reporting from the CARICOM headquarters, I'm Jacine Dunkley-Malcolm.
CARICOM Secretary General Ambassador Erwin LaRocque has welcomed the election of St. Vincent and the Grenadines to the Security Council of the United Nations. He said it was an opportunity for a small state to bring a unique perspective to threats to international peace and security. I congratulate Prime Minister Gonzalez and his team and the diplomats of our member states on this successful bid by a CARICOM candidate, Ambassador LaRocque said. The country became the fourth CARICOM member state to be elected to the Security Council when it garnered 185 votes of the 193 available for the non-permanent seat reserved for the group of Latin American and Caribbean states for the two-year term 2020 to 2021. St. Vincent and the Grenadines has become the smallest state ever to be elected to the Council.
Group C, Latin American and Caribbean states, 1 seat. Number of ballot papers, 193. Number of invalid ballots, 0. Number of valid ballots, 193. Abstentions, 2. Number of members present and voting, 191. Required two-thirds majority, 128. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, 185 votes.
The Secretary General noted that at this time, a voice for small island and low-lying coastal developing states in the Security Council was much needed, adding that historically it was a voice that had been the least heard on the Council. I am confident that St. Vincent and the Grenadines, whose candidature was endorsed by the Group of Latin America and the Caribbean at the UN GRULAC, will be a strong advocate on behalf of the region and the wider SIDS community, particularly for the issues that are important to us, Ambassador LaRocque added. CARICOM Chair, Prime Minister Timothy Harris of St. Kitts and Nevis, also offered congratulations. In a congratulatory statement released Friday afternoon, the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis said the governments and people of the region are heartened that St. Vincent and the Grenadines has secured a seat on the Council at this crucial moment in time, when the maintenance of international peace and security has never been more essential, particularly in light of the political crisis that confronts Venezuela, our next-door neighbor. The CARICOM chairman added, "We in the CARICOM grouping are even more confident now that disputes there and elsewhere will be settled by peaceful means, as St. Vincent and the Grenadines' vital voice and vote will be a strong champion in accordance with CARICOM's guiding principles of non-interference and non-intervention in the affairs of states, respect for sovereignty, adherence to the rule of law, and respect for constitutional order and democracy."
The Caribbean Development Bank has forecast a positive economic outlook for the region. The bank, in its 2018 annual report that was released at the 49th Annual Board of Governors meeting, says the region will experience growth despite a negative forecast for the global economy. The report acknowledges the region's vulnerability to weather-related disasters and pointed out the need for governments to address institutional weaknesses in the delivery of critical economic and social projects. However, it is predicting GDP growth of 2.1%, with a boom in construction, tourism, and the extractive industries. In his address to the meeting, CDB's President Warren Smith says, with the support of the bank and development partners, this could be the region's moonshot moment.
Digital transformation is indispensable. It will change the way we live, the way we consume, and the way we produce. Harnessing digital power is equivalent to securing our future. We must put our youth in the driver's seat and at the center through high quality and equal access to education. The private sector, particularly in the micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, has to be crowded into the development narrative in a way that is sustainable. The role of institutions like CDB is to provide the right incentives so that fledgling entities can find their feet, mature, and flourish. This cycle must be repeated until we have a critical size market that demonstrates dynamism and competitiveness.
Efforts to sustainably use and manage our biodiversity received a boost of 25 million euros from the German Development Bank. Germany's ambassador to CARICOM, His Excellency Holger Michael, handed over a letter of agreement for the funding to CARICOM's Secretary General Ambassador Erwin Larocque on Tuesday, 4th of June at the Secretariat's headquarters in Georgetown, Guyana. The support will be channeled to the Caribbean Biodiversity Fund, which was established in 2012 to provide a sustainable flow of resources for the conservation, protection, and maintenance of biodiversity in the Caribbean. Antigua and Barbuda, Grenada, Jamaica, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines are partners of the Caribbean Biodiversity Fund. Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown has signed a declaration to eliminate the use of single-use plastics and end ocean pollution, as he called on regional leaders to join him.
Single-use plastics. Our region may be small, but our actions must be big and bold in addressing the issue of plastic pollution. Let us act now, my dear people. I thank you.
Antigua and Barbuda signed the St. John's Declaration on Saturday as it hosted the Play It Out Festival.
Antigua and Barbuda is leading by example. Here is a great leader. He's really putting your country at the forefront of our fight to beat plastic pollution.
The festival was part of a campaign by the UN General Assembly's President to phase out the use of single-use plastics and to raise awareness of the impact of plastic pollutants on the environment and human health.
I am so proud to be standing here with some of the biggest supports of effective action to beat plastic pollution. This is an issue that is particularly close to my heart and one that I have been inspired to see the Caribbean leading on. Every year, humans produce 300 million tons of plastics. 300 million tons of plastics. Half of that is for items that will only be used once. I chose environmental action as one of my priorities as President of the United Nations General Assembly, based on my experience for 30 years as an environmentalist and as a politician. The oceans are the lungs of the world. You know that they keep our air healthy and our climate in balance by absorbing the carbon that damages the climate, whose impact we feel every day in floods, in hurricanes that are affecting millions of people around the world.
Other UN officials and representatives of the government of Norway were also involved in the initiative, which culminated with a mega concert. The concert headlined Machel Montano, American R&B singer Ashanti, and songwriter and UNDP ocean advocate Cody Simpson. Several other celebrities were on board to lend support. The UN says Norway and Antigua and Barbuda are major supporters and global advocates of the campaign to tackle plastic pollution in the environment.
And if you did not know, the 2019 Atlantic hurricane season is officially underway. The Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency says it's strengthening its capacity to respond to the vulnerability of its 18 participating states.
And in that regard, we've updated our standard operating procedures in our contingency plans for dealing with high magnitude hurricane events. Looking again at the whole matter of how quickly they form, looking at issues around how we address the protocols for deployment of teams in short times and spaces. We've updated our functional annex on our what we call our regional coordination plan, and this is how we bring all of the regional stakeholders together in sort of an orchestra to respond to the needs of the affected state.
Colorado State University has predicted 30 named hurricanes, of which it says 5 are likely to become major hurricanes. It says 2 have the potential to become Category 3 hurricanes.
Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Mottley, has announced that she will relinquish the country's majority ownership of LIAT to Antigua and Barbuda. She confirmed this week that Barbados has accepted an offer from Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown to take up most of its 49.4% stake in the airline. Prime Minister Mottley disclosed that Attorney General Dale Marshall is leading negotiations to settle the terms of the agreement with Antigua and Barbuda.
Notwithstanding our absolute commitment to regional air travel, and notwithstanding the fact, sir, and given in fact, the fact that the studies have recommended a different model and restructuring for LIAT, and given the inability of the government of Barbados to do for LIAT in the next 5 to 10 years what the government of Barbados did for LIAT in the last 5 to 10 years, when we moved significantly to assume major shareholder responsibilities, we have taken the determination and decision as a cabinet that it is time for us to step back, while at the same time allowing other governments to continue with their proposal to want to restructure LIAT in the way in which they have determined.
A team from the CARICOM Secretariat held talks on Monday, the 3rd of July, with the members of the Board of Directors of the Caribbean Aviation Safety and Security Oversight System, CASSOS. CASSOS is a Jamaica-based regional institution which was launched in 2009. The talks were held at the CARICOM Secretariat and were aimed at determining the way forward on decisions the CARICOM heads of government took earlier this year on regional transportation. CASSOS Board Chairman, Mr. Nari William Singh, briefed the communications unit on the sidelines of the meeting.
CASSOS is the arm or an entity under CARICOM that provides support and guidance as it pertains to aviation matters. Our mandate, as I said, is aviation safety and security oversight. And so at a recent heads of government meeting, which would have been informed by other meetings, COHSOD meetings and so, there were some aviation related decisions that emanated from those meetings. And so we are here as the board of CASSOS, a representative from each of the member civil aviation authorities, to meet with CARICOM to get some clarification.
There is a bit of good news for users of mobile devices in Dominica, Grenadines, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Once you are living in those countries, you can keep your current mobile phone numbers when switching from one service provider to another.
It's your number. Keep it, even if you switch providers. Mobile number portability is coming.
The Eastern Caribbean Telecommunications Authority, ECTEL, said this development is due to a mobile number portability system, which began this month. The service removes the inconvenience of informing all your contacts of a number change. You are now up to date with the major developments happening in the region. As always, we say there are more details to these stories, so follow us on our social media spaces.
Visit the CARICOM Secretariat news site, today.caricom.org, or the CARICOM website at caricom.org. Like our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. See you next time.